Hi cuties! I hope you guys are doing so well. Today I'm going to be making Halloween themed custom acrylics with chalk, pastels, glitter, pigments, whatever I have. I got so many new glitters to use in this video and I'm so excited to make some epic Halloween custom acrylics. Y'all know it's like one of my favorite things to do ever. But before we get into it, I would also like to mention that today's video is kindly sponsored by Pastels. I'm going to be unboxing and reviewing one of their new beginner-friendly cordless e-files. They sell on Amazon and it's super convenient. Thank you so much to Pastels for sponsoring this video. I really appreciate the support. Now without further ado, let's get into it. So let's start by opening up this e-file really quick. I'm going to be using this e-file to make my custom acrylics as well as when I do my nails to file up the acrylic application and stuff because my acrylic application is never that smooth. But this is something that some of you guys who even have like a more expensive e-file might want to look into getting as well if you like making custom acrylics with chalk, because whenever I make custom acrylics with chalk, I use my e-file to grind them, and I would recommend using an e-file that is a little bit more affordable to do so, because grinding up chalk with your e-file over time can start to like ruin it if you're doing it a lot. So you might want to invest in like a cheaper one just to grind up your chalk. Okay, so we've got like the handheld piece, which is really nice. It feels really like slender, which is cool. Okay, so you hold the button to turn it on. Nice. It has a pause function, which is really nice, so that you don't have to like turn it all the way off when you set your e-file down. You can just like pause it and then play it again and it'll be at the same speed. Oh my goodness. I also really love that it has this little LED screen to show you which speed you're on, because I remember my first ever e-file that was just like a handheld one. I had to keep it plugged in and it also didn't have like an LED screen to tell me which speed I was on. It just had like a little dial and I had no idea which speed I was on. I had to like guess. So that is something that I really like. It also charges with USB-C, which is cool. You probably have one of those laying around your house, but you are also provided with the wire, which is always great. I can always use more of those. And then we've got the essential e-filing bits. We've got these diamond cuticle bits, which are essential for doing your prep. It also comes with this tungsten umbrella bit in extra fine coarseness. This is going to be really great for cleaning up the shape of your acrylic, polygel, whatever, and also work really well for removing your nail product. I really do like that they included the extra fine coarseness, because if you are a beginner, you probably do want to start off with an extra fine bit, just because like the coarser you get, like the quicker it files stuff off. And if you're a beginner, you don't want to be filing things off too quickly. You've got also this little dusty brush, which is perfect for getting in the corners and dusting out all of like the e-file dust when you're done. And then that's it. It also comes with an instruction manual if you're the type of person who likes reading instructions, which I am not. So that's everything in the e-file box. It's just so nice to like have an e-file not attached to a wire. I think this is my first e-file that's like not attached to a wire, and it's just like so nice to not have like a whole thing attached to it. Anyway, let's go make some custom acrylics. Let's go. I'm gonna be making the acrylics into these 1 ounce glass jars that I got from Amazon. As usual, I'm gonna be using my Softland clear acrylic in this 8.8 ounce big bulk container. And then I'm going to be using these chalk pastels instead of the sidewalk chalk that I used previously. The sidewalk chalk was also really good, and I might go back and use a couple of them if I can't find the colors I like in this box. But this has 48 colors in it. So I've used these chalk pastels for one other custom acrylic previously, and they were super pigmented, which I really like, so I'm gonna use these. And then obviously, if you know me, you know, but I'm gonna use a whole bunch of glitter. So what should we do first? I feel like the first one is always the most tough, but I think we've just gotta go for it. We've just gotta start making them. So I have these glitters, which are just like pre-mixed Halloween glitters and sequins. And I think I'm gonna start off by simply just using one of these with a little bit of pigment, because that'll just be like an easy start. So I think we're gonna go with this one, because this one has a whole mix of different sequins in it. I don't even know if I should add any pigment to it. I feel like the glitters and sequins might get lost in the pigment. So honestly, for this one, I'm just gonna pour a bunch of this in here, like a whole bunch, whole lot. And then I'm just gonna fill it to the top with some clear acrylic. I'll leave a tiny bit of room just in case I decide I want to add some other things after I swatch it. Can I bring you guys in a little closer? Yes. And to mix it up, I like to just put this little safety seal on top, hold it tight, and shake it up. I find it's much more secure this way than if I actually screwed the top back on. Usually if I screw the top back on and then shake it, I always get leakage. Ooh, so much glitter. All right, time to swatch it. And then if I swatch it and I decide that I want to add other things, I can always do that. I always just use my little airtight mason jar as a dappen dish because I like how I can just seal it tight whenever I'm not using it. I'm going to be using my EMA monomer from Not Polish. For my acrylic brush, I'm gonna use my number 10 Pana brush. And then one of you guys recommended that I use Auto Shop paper towels to wipe off my brush when I do acrylic, and I've really been liking it a lot. So I'm gonna use an Auto Shop paper towel to wipe off my acrylic brush while I'm like applying the acrylic and stuff. But then I'm going to be swatching all of the acrylics on this white paper towel so that we can like see them on a true white background. I may go get my swatch sticks, but no guarantee. Let's swatch this. If anything, I may need to add more clear acrylic. Oh, yeah, this is so glittery. Yeah, there's no way. There's no way. Definitely gonna add in as much more white as I can possibly fit. Or not white, clear. Okay, this one is just going to be super duper packed with glitter. Okay, at least I could actually pick up some acrylic this time. I mean, not bad. Nothing really that special, but I think I'm gonna leave it for now and we'll do better on the next one. I think I'll use this separate paper towel as like the final swatch paper towel. Actually, I decided I'm gonna do the final swatch for each of them on a swatch stick, because why not? Why not? I have them. This way, if I don't end up using all of them, at least we'll know like kind of what it would look like as a nail if I did use it. I am going to have to just kind of like put a layer of clear over these because, yeah. Having so many like super chunky sequins in the acrylic definitely makes it really hard to work with. So for the upcoming ones, I'm definitely going to keep that to a minimum. Yeah, there's way too many glitters in here. You can barely tell what's going on, so I think this one's definitely kind of a fail, which is kind of sad for the first one, but the next one will be better, I promise. And even though it was a fail, it does still deserve a name. So for the next one, I want to use this like mixture of black and red glitter sequins. I think it'll work out a lot better than the last one because they're not as chunky and I will not put as many of them. But first, I do want to add a chalk pastel. I do want the base of this one to be like a jelly deep red color. I think I'll mix a little bit of this red with a little teeny tiny bit of the black. So I'm gonna switch up the bit on my e-file to the extra fine one. And I'm gonna take my dust collector out, which I did not clean after using it last time, so it's a little dusty. But I like to grind my chalk with my dust collector on because I don't want to inhale any of that stuff. So I'm gonna turn my e-file on to like speed, I think speed 8 should be good just to grind up some chalk. This is how loud it sounds at speed 8. Maybe let me turn it up all the way to 35. And this is how it sounds at speed 35. It does make a little bit of noise. So if you're a beginner, you really don't need to be using it at 35. I think the highest you'd be using it at is like 15. So around here. Oh, I'm not even showing you. So yeah, 15. But I am gonna grind up my chalk at 10. Okay, I feel like those mixed together should create like a nice deep, almost like bloody red color. So now I'm just going to add in a generous amount of these glitters and sequins. Oh, okay, that might have been a little bit more than I wanted, but I think it should be fine. I also want to add in some of this super fine, sparkly hollow glitter. It's more of like a white hollow glitter, which I really love. This is like my favorite kind of glitter to use because I just want the whole acrylic to be somewhat glittery, you know? And then just to add in the clear all the way to the top. and shake it up. I'm noticing a lot of the chalk is like stuck down here at the bottom. So I'm gonna get my little like just palette knife and like try to scrape it off the bottom. Okay, there's still a little bit of chalk kind of stuck to the bottom of the jar, but I think I've mixed up a good amount of it. So let's swatch it. Oh, I love that. Oh my God, you can't even see it. You can't even see it, but that is fabulous. That is exactly what I wanted it to look like. Oh my goodness. Oh, I'm so excited about that one. Oh, I love it so much. Okay. Oh my goodness. I'm freaking out. I'm freaking out. Let me just swatch it on the swatch stick. You could say there's too many glitters just because it is kind of difficult to pick up a bead without it being packed with glitter. But honestly, I don't see that as a problem. So that's exactly how I like it. I feel like you can almost see the custom acrylic better just swatched on the paper towel than on the swatch stick. And honestly, it takes a really long time to swatch it on the swatch stick. So I think I'm not going to swatch them on the swatch sticks anymore because I don't got time for that. We are just going to use this clean paper towel to do all of our final swatches. Like, you see what I mean? It just looks so much prettier on the paper towel. I feel like you can see it so much better than like on the swatch. I think this is a pretty fitting name. We've got a really pretty red one, so now I think we need to make a pretty purple one. I think this like dark purple would be perfect. I also have this new like purple iridescent glitter, and then I think it'll be really, really pretty if I just dump in some of these glitter sequins that are just like mixed with hollow stars and then like black and white ghosts. So that's the plan. So I'm gonna start by grinding up some of the purple. There is a tiny bit of the previous color of chalk in my e-file bit, but it's like not enough to make a difference in the color. So I'm not worried about it. And then I'm gonna put some of this purple iridescent glitter. It's like a mixture of super fine ones and then just like kind of big, sort of translucent hexagonal glitters. Just a little bit more. Ooh, I really like the blue reflection on that. Good, it's good. Okay, I think I'm just gonna dump this whole thing in here. That. Make sure to get all those hollow stars in there because those are so cute. And then just for good measure, I think I'll also add some of the fine white hollow glitter too, because I just like adding it to everything because it just makes everything so much more sparkly. Don't be surprised if I add this glitter to every single one of them. And finally, I'm going to top it off with a nice amount of acrylic all the way to the top. And shake it real quick. I noticed that this chalk pastel does kind of get stuck at the bottom of the jar a lot. That might just be because I'm not using a sanding band though, because usually I would kind of like grind it up in the jar with a sanding band as well. But today I'm not doing that. Okay, I was able to get most of it. I'm really excited to swatch this one. Ooh, that's cute, I think. Yeah, that's pretty cute. I think for a second I wasn't sure if I liked it because some of those like translucent pink hexagonal glitters have almost like a red tint to them, which isn't necessarily what I was going for, but I don't think it looks bad, and I don't think that you would actually be able to really tell once it's on my nail, because I think you can just tell because it's on the paper towel, maybe. Let me add it to our final swatch paper towel. Felt like ghost face was appropriate since really if you look at the swatch, like the one thing that jumps out is like the ghosts, the white ghosts. So, okay, next I think we should make a green one, like a bright neon green one, using this fluorescent green mica powder that I have, because I honestly don't think I'm gonna be able to get like that bright fluorescent green of a color using the chalk. And then I have these like neon green, opalescent, almost flaky glitters. So definitely gonna add those in, but I feel like just neon green acrylic isn't like spooky. So definitely gonna add in this mixture of hollow black glitters. The nice thing about using the micas is I don't actually have to grind anything up. I can just put it in. I think 2 scoops Actually, I want this to be really bright, so we'll do 3. 3 scoops should be good. And then the glitter, a lot of the green one, and then the black, a little bit less of the black. Okay, that might have been a lot. That might have been a lot. Okay, you guys can't really see. I find that as long as the ratio of like a glitter and pigments to clear or white acrylic is about like 1 to 2, so like only 1/3 of the jar is filled with glitter and pigment and stuff, you should be good. And there goes the leaf blowers. So let me finish this one up and then I will take a break until they are finished. And we're just gonna assume that I'm going to add this like white hollow glitter to all of them. I like it. It reminds me of fairy dust. Mix, mix, mix. Also, my strawberry ran out of battery. Let's do the test swatch first. Definitely not as bright and as pigmented as I would like it to be. I don't know. I guess I'll add even more of this pigment powder. Maybe that will help. Because I don't know why it looks like almost like milky. Because I didn't add any sort of white other than the fine glitter. And that shouldn't make that happen. Also, I feel like there's definitely not enough black glitter. And I totally forgot that I literally bought a whole package of these like black bats. So definitely gonna add a few of these in there as well. I think those are gonna be honestly like the star of the show. I wish they were hollow, but it's fine. While I'm here shaking, just wanted to update you guys that these big chunky charms that I did on my nails in my last video actually have not been bothering me at all. Like I haven't noticed them hinder me in any sort of way at all. So just wanted to update you guys. If you saw those and you're like, those are so cute, but I literally could never because they look like torture devices, just know that I personally have not had any problems with them at all. Like I don't even notice them as much as I thought I would. Like I don't notice them at all. Okay, let's give this another swatch. It does still just look milky, and I think it's just that pigment powder. That's just the way it is. So I don't think there's much that I'm gonna be able to do about that other than maybe add some other green pigment, like one of these chalks, like maybe just the slightest bit to get it to look less milky and more pigmented. I wonder if I add just a little bit of this one with a teensy tiny bit of yellow, or maybe this yellow. Yeah, I'm just gonna grind up a little bit of those colors in to hopefully make it look a little bit more pigmented, because I'm just really not a fan of this milky look. I just don't like it. It doesn't look spooky. It looks weird. I don't like it. Okay, 3rd time's a charm, hopefully. Okay. Honestly, you can barely even tell the difference. At least I know that the color of green that I picked was good because it literally looks the exact same shade of green. I think we're just gonna go with it. Let's add it to our pretty swatch sheet. I haven't made an orange one yet, so that's what I'm gonna do next. So I have these orange glitters that are new. I have like these orange circle glitters that I might add in there too. And then also I think I'm gonna add a bunch of these different purple sequins into it because I want this one to be like orange glittery, but with chunky purple sequins in it, because I feel like orange and purple is a really cute Halloween color combo. And I was actually supposed to dye my hair split dye purple and orange for Halloween, but I don't know if I'm gonna do that because I'm kind of chickening out of doing that since I really love my purple and pink hair and I don't want to chance like ruining it or like messing it up in any way by making the pink side orange. So yeah, we'll see if that happens, but at least we can make a custom acrylic that is purple and orange. Okay, I don't want to risk putting too many chunky glitters in there, so I'm going to stop at that. And this time I'm going to go ahead and put the clear acrylic in, and then I'm going to go in with the orange chalk pastel on top of the clear acrylic because I think that might help it like not get stuck to the glass jar. I think this one is good. So we'll just add a little bit of this darker orange one since it's a pretty deep, almost reddish orange. And actually, now that I'm looking at it, it looks really red in the jar. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and add a little bit of this yellow as well. feel like maybe I should add a teensy tiny bit of white acrylic just so it doesn't look quite as like jelly. So I actually bought this new bulk acrylic powder from Amazon. It's from Nina's Professional Nail System. You get 16 ounces, and I think this one was like the next best price that I could find on Amazon for bulk acrylic. So we are going to test it out. I'm just gonna put like that much, not much. And I almost forgot to add in the fairy dust. That'll definitely help. Now I feel like there's not enough chunky purple glitter. Or maybe I'm just not like picking it up. Let me see. There it is. Let's try this one more time. Much better. I think. Definitely looks more of like a creamsicle color now, but I think we're gonna go with it. So let's do the final swatch. I actually think I might have put too much of that chunky orange glitter because I'm kind of like only getting that when I go to pick up a bead. The way the spider shows up so much, just creeping in there, you know what I'm saying? Because the spider is creepy. Yeah. I know I want to make like a jelly black one with a bunch of hollow glitters and sequins in it. I think I've made one like that in the past, but I want to do it again. I'm gonna start by dumping this like section of miscellaneous hollow sequins and glitters and stuff. Just dumping the entire thing in there. And then I'm also gonna add a bunch of these mini hollow stars, a lot of them. And then also a bunch of these silver hollow sparkles. And the last glitter I'm gonna add is this really fine silver hollow glitter. Just, oh! That came out so fast. Oopsie, whatever, it's fine. I think it's probably good. And I think adding the chalk after the acrylic is definitely the way to go to not get it stuck on the bottom of the jar. So I'm adding in the clear acrylic. I can't tell if this is black or dark brown, to be honest. Oh no, that's definitely dark brown. I took out the black one already. Where is it? Found it. Just seems to always want to stick to the glass somewhere. Acrylic is much darker once you actually swatch it, so hopefully this is a really nice jelly black. Ooh. Okay, it does look very gray, but not mad about it. Not mad about it. I do think it could be maybe a little bit darker, but let me see if I like put another layer on top of this. No, yeah. I'm gonna leave it like that because once I actually do my nails, I think that layering the beads on top of each other is going to make it look darker. So yeah, I think that's good. I feel like there were not that many handcuff sequins in there, but I'm like getting all of them in the swatches for some reason. If you're not familiar with the movie Halloween, like the original one with Michael Myers, this name might not make sense, but I feel like since it looks like nighttime, spooky, there's handcuffs in it, and Michael Myers sort of like escaped from prison or mental asylum, whatever, and then is like back. Basically, I have a Halloween t-shirt that says the night he came home on it, so that's what inspired this. Cool. Michael Myers. Halloween. I'm not super happy with how this orange one turned out, and I think we need like a proper orange one. And I also really want to use these jack-o'-lantern sequins that are in here. So we're gonna make another orange one, but we're gonna make it real bright. So I'm gonna use these like neon orange glitters and these ones, these super fine ones. If I can get them off of the packaging, that would be fantastic. I'm honestly just gonna dump the entirety of each of these in here because I mean I feel like it's not that much, right? Oh. And then for the jack-o'-lanterns, I'm literally just going to use my tweezers and pick them out one by one, as many as I can. Okay, I think that's pretty good considering how large they are. I don't really want to be picking up multiple of those like per bead. And then I said I was gonna add these little circle hollow orange glitters to a different one, and then I didn't. So I'm just gonna add them to this one because I think it'll add a little bit of an extra flair. And then I'm actually gonna skip adding pigment to this one because I added so much glitter that I think it'll be colored enough just through the fine glitter. Oh yes, got a little pumpkin. Ooh, yeah, yep. I think that's good. No pigment needed. Since I used that super fine orange glitter, it was basically like a pigment. Just gonna do my final swatch of that one. Oh no, oh no, I think the pigment is coming off of these jack-o'-lanterns. That's actually the first time that I've ever experienced pigment coming off of a glitter. Never ever has that happened before to me. That's crazy. Oh well, this is how I feel about all of the oranges, or like orange acrylics I keep trying to make, because I don't like either of the oranges that I made, and I pretty much like all of the rest of them, so seemed fitting. I have these two glitter mixtures, and this one reminds me of Sally, and the black and white one reminds me of Jack Skellington from The Nightmare Before Christmas. I don't know if the colors are completely accurate, but that's just what it reminds me of. So I think I'm going to make a Sally and Jack Skellington themed one. So we'll start with the Sally one. So once again, I'm going to dump just the entire thing of this baggie in there. And then I think it would be really pretty if I added just a little bit of these Mylar flakes with like the purplish UV reflection. And then I'm gonna add some of these clear iridescent stars. And some of like the fairy dust one. And I think that Sally is kind of like this bluish green color, teal I guess. So I'm going to grind up just a little bit into this one, just so that the acrylic is slightly tinted the same color as her. And then I'm going to use just clear acrylic because I want all of the glitters and color to show through. And if you add any white, it's automatically going to kind of make it a little bit cloudy and a little bit more pastel. I feel like this one is either going to look really, really pretty, I'm gonna be so happy with it, or it's just gonna be like super ugly. So I'm hoping it's pretty. Ooh, okay. I am actually very happy with that. Oh my goodness, yes, that's perfect. That is perfect. Yes, yes. I'm so glad I added like the Mylar flakes in there and the little like fairy dust glitters. I feel like it adds so much. Just makes it so sparkly. Okay, now for the Jack Skellington one. And then after I make this one, that'll be 8 custom acrylics that I've made and I'm happy with. I'm not counting that first one with the super chunky glitters as one of them. We'll just say that was a practice one, like a warm-up one. Because that one, it was just chunky glitters and clear acrylic, like let's be real. I'm definitely going to put the fairy dust in it. Oh, I got a lot of fairy dust. And then some hollow stars. And actually maybe a couple of the hollow moons too, because I feel like he, you know, goes around about at night. Let's see, I only have a tiny bit left of this clear acrylic. Hopefully it's enough for this one, because I don't really want to have to open a whole new one for the tiny bit. Oh, it's actually more than enough. Nice. Let's see if this one needs anything else. Ooh, no, that's perfect. Ooh, I love that. I love that so much. That is so pretty. The only thing I'm wondering is if I should put some more hollow stars in there. I kind of think I should. I mean, if you can have more glitter, why not have more glitter? And the final swatch of all of the custom acrylics I'm going to be making in this video. Yes, so pretty. Cute! I'm not gonna lie, I did not include Skellington because I was not sure if I was going to spell it correctly and I was too lazy to look it up. So here are all of the custom acrylics. I actually went ahead and put a dollop of glossy top coat on all of them just so that we could see them in all of their full glittery glory, especially because a lot of the hollow aspects and iridescent aspects weren't really visible without the top coat. I absolutely love them so much. Also, don't worry if you're not like super into Halloween, because later on, probably at the beginning of November, I'm going to be doing like a fall custom acrylics video. So more just like fall themed and not so much like spooky themed. But for this video, I wanted to keep them all spooky and I'm really happy with how they turned out. There's definitely a few of them that I really love. So I'm gonna get cleaned up because my desk is a ginormous mess of glitter and acrylic dust and things, and I will be back so that we can do an epic set of nails with these. Definitely not gonna be anything too crazy. I'm gonna keep it simple. There's some stickers that I really wanna use. So yeah, let's do it. So I removed those nails so that we can do a brand new set, and I went ahead and filled in my protective hard gel layer. Also, I kind of got myself with the e-file because I wasn't being as careful as I should have been, so ignore that. So the first thing that we gotta do is put on some nail tips. And I told you guys that I was looking for better extra long coffin tips, like just the regular tips. And I found these ones on Amazon and they just happened to get here right before I sat down to film this video. So we are going to try them. And it looks like the tips are matte, so they must be like pre-etched a little bit, which is nice. That always saves us a bit of time. So I'm just gonna put these tips on real quick with some nail glue gel. As usual, y'all know the drill. Before I do put the tips on though, I am going to quickly rough up the surface of my hard gel layer, just because I like to make sure that my nail surface is never shiny or like glossy in any way when I do nail extensions, because I want them to stick really well, and things don't really stick to glossy surfaces that great. These tips are like really long. Like look at them in comparison to the coffin nails that I did last week. Yeah, I feel like that's gonna be way too long for me. I feel like I should almost just chop them and then do more of just like a tapered square look. I think that is actually what I'm gonna do. I just have like so much schoolwork to do and stuff, and I don't know, I just don't want to risk my nail length getting in the way of anything. All right, there we go. Definitely gonna have more of a tapered square, but that's fine. I'm just gonna quickly file these up, sharpen up all the edges, especially where we cut off the tips, to make sure they're nice and straight. I might flesh out the area around where it meets my natural nail a little bit. It's going to be so hard to choose which ones of these acrylics I want to use, but I think to help me out, I'm going to reference these stickers because I really want to use these Hello Kitty stickers. So I'm going to try to pick colors that kind of sort of match the colors of these stickers. Let's just start putting them on. I think I'm going to start with this one, which is Sally. Also, I forgot to mention, but I did just put down one of my like dental bibs so that my glass tabletop doesn't get like all ruined by the monomer or whatever, because this is waterproof. So whenever I'm using acrylics with a lot of glitter in them, which is all of these acrylics and usually all of the custom acrylics I make, I like to start by putting down a nice layer of monomer and kind of just like prepping my whole tip and nail with monomer so that like the acrylic has something to kind of grab onto. And then I'm going to just put this acrylic over the entire nail. I'm going to really try to keep the glitter acrylic application pretty thin because I am going to go over with a good layer of clear afterwards to encapsulate all of the glitters and everything so that when we file they aren't going to get ruined. And I think these acrylics with just so much glitter in them look a lot better when they are applied in thinner layers so that you can actually see all the individual layers and it doesn't just become like one big mass of glitter. Okay, for the next one, I'm going to use Vampire Bride because this one is just so pretty and I am so excited to use it, so I just want to use it. And I made sure not to put it on my thumb because I feel like the thumb kind of gets left out in pictures sometimes, and I wanted to make sure that it was on one of my 4 like main fingers, you know? Not that thumb isn't a main finger. Thumbs are important too, but you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying. Also, I am doing all of this acrylic application with my non-dominant hand. So if it looks kind of crazy, looks like I'm doing really, really small beads, that's why. Also, I feel like it has been a minute since I have done acrylic. Like, when is the last time I did acrylic? It's been a while, so I might be a little bit rusty. I'm also just trying to like strategically place the glitters because there's so many glitters in these acrylics. So I'm trying to like strategically place them, and I don't know, with the acrylic setting pretty quickly because it's pretty warm today, it's getting a little bit messy. Okay, I did end up having to like pick out a lot of the glitter sequins in order to have it look somewhat good. I really hope it looks good once I put a top coat on it and everything, but let's move on and do the black and white Jack one on my middle finger. I think that it will look good next to the red. But yeah, I think that if you're going to be making custom acrylics with like really big glitters that are kind of supposed to have a specific look to them, like a heart or a bat, you know, and you want the heart or bat to actually show through and not just be like a red or black blob, you probably don't want to put too many glitters in it, or else they'll kind of just get like lost in the other glitters. They get lost in the sauce, you know what I mean? So yeah, I probably should have put a little less of the red hearts and the bats in the Vampire Bride one that I used on my pointer finger. But if it's a glitter one like the Jack one or the Sally one, like this one that just has a bunch of random like round glitters and there's not really anything that you're supposed to make out of the glitter, it's just supposed to be like colors or black and white and shiny, I feel like you could put so many glitters and it doesn't really matter. I love like the Jack Skellington and Sally one so much. If I had all the time in the world, I would definitely do like a Jack Skellington portrait and a Sally portrait, but unfortunately I do not. I also do not have enough patience to do that right now. So we're going to move on And we are going to use the ectoplasm one, so the bright green one with the black bats, on my ring finger. Hopefully there is enough room on the pinky so that I can use the ghost face one, because that one has really chunky glitters in it. So I don't know. We'll cross that bridge when we get there, I guess. Also, I'm kind of refolding and readjusting my little Auto Shop paper towel to make sure I have a clean spot to wipe off my acrylic brush every time I'm switching colors, just so that I don't get any glitters in the acrylics that they don't belong in, and also so that my brush does not gunk up. Okay, time to go in with the purple ghost face one. It was probably not well thought out to be putting the one with like the biggest, chunkiest glitters on my pinky, but you know, that's just a decision we're gonna have to deal with. So I'm going to try my best to like pick out some of the big glitters so that it doesn't look too crazy, but it might just end up looking like a mass of glitter. I'm not gonna lie, I was like a teensy bit worried when I first started to apply that one because it was looking like not purple. It was looking more just like transparent and red, but I think since I kind of put a pretty big layer, also there's like some drips because I was trying to make sure the glitters were like looking good, but whatever. There's a pretty thick layer and it actually looks so pretty, and I am obsessed with all of these glitters. Once again, all of these glitters, I mean all of these acrylics, I mean they're basically just glitter mixes with clear acrylic, but whatever. So I'm actually going to put on some stickers before I clear cap them with clear acrylic, because I think that if you can encapsulate the stickers, I feel like it just is always looks better, looks more smooth. So I'm just gonna put some of those on, and I'm actually gonna cure them in there with a little bit of gel because I like putting on my stickers kind of like I put on charms. I put down a little drop of rhinestone glue gel and then I place the sticker in. I can move it around as much as I need to until it's in the spot that I like, and then I can give it a flash cure, and then that way there's like no risk of them moving or whatever when I go in with the clear acrylic. One of you guys actually gave me that tip to use rhinestone glue gel with my stickers, and it is an amazing tip that I always use all the time. The only thing you need to make sure you are careful of is if you're using it to put stickers on top of your nails and all you're gonna do is put on a top coat, you're not gonna encapsulate them. You wanna make sure that your layer of rhinestone glue gel is thin, or else the nails can get kind of lumpy and bumpy. Okay, so it's time for me to put my layer of clear over everything, and to do that I'm actually going to be using this clear that I have from Not Polish because I think it is a little bit better than the clear that I used to actually make the custom acrylics, but it doesn't really matter. It doesn't have to be super, super clear for making the custom acrylics because I'm just putting a bunch of glitter and powder and stuff in it anyway. It doesn't really need to be crystal clear, but since I do really want to be able to see the stickers and like the glitters and everything, I'm going to use this not polished one for the encapsulation. Also, I'm going to use a separate dapping dish with new monomer in it for doing the clear, just so that I don't make it cloudy or anything using the dirty monomer from all of the glitter acrylics. But yeah, I'm just gonna try to do this really quick because I need to wash my car before it gets dark, because at some point my car windshield just gets so dirty it's like it's a safety hazard because like the sun shines on it and I'm like, oh my goodness, I cannot see anything. But yeah, I need to go wash my car, so I'm gonna try to do this quick because I don't want to wash my car with my nails unencapsulated. I want them to be protected. Also, I know some people get a little, I don't know, annoyed, upset. I don't know why you would be upset because they're my nails, not yours. But I feel like some people get a little annoyed, a little upset when I put like stickers or charms over my glitter acrylic or nail art that I do, because it like covers up, I don't know, the pretty glitter or the pretty nail art that I did. But honestly, I really love kawaii and cute Sanrio things and chunky charms, whatever. It makes me happy, so I'm gonna do it because life is too short to not do things that make you smile. So yeah, y'all know I read all the comments. Maybe not all of them. I really try to read most of them, so I see all the comments. Sometimes if there's a nasty comment, I will just leave it because I find it really funny to read what everybody else replies back. So yeah. Anyway, just want to put that out there. I know some of you probably don't like the fact that I put the stickers over the acrylics, but I just really, really want to use these Hello Kitty stickers because I really love Hello Kitty. All right, yes, I know these nails look absolutely insane. They look absolutely crazy. They are so bulky and chunky and lumpy. I don't even want you to look at them. It's time to file. So we are going to have to be doing a ton of filing. This is honestly probably going to take forever. So I'm going to switch to a bit that is actually a bit coarser, just so that I can debulk some of the product quicker. I actually kind of want to try to use this bit that I have. It's like a really long, medium coarse, just like cylinder bit. It's got a little thing to protect your e-file from the dust. So we're gonna start with this, and I'm gonna get out my dust collector, obviously. I'm gonna be using this on reverse. So in order to put this e-file in reverse, I think you have to double click it and then it switches. Yeah, so that's forward and then that's reverse. Since I'm using my left hand, I'm gonna be working in reverse, and I'm going to work at speed like 14 to start off with, and I am just going to try to debulk as much of this lumpiness as possible. I am most likely going to end up filing into some of the big chunky glitters, and I might even file into a couple of the stickers, just because the application of the custom acrylics that I made was so like bumpy and uneven because there were so many chunky glitters in there. And honestly, I would prefer the nails to look and feel smooth and file into some of the glitters and or stickers than to have the nails look all lumpy and chunky and uneven, but have none of the glitters and stickers be filed into. So yeah, it's okay if some of the glitters and stickers get filed into. I don't mind. I just want these to be not so incredibly lumpy. That filing took absolutely forever, but I didn't actually buff them because I was so tired of filing. So what I'm actually gonna do is I'm gonna take one of these lint-free nail wipes and some 100% acetone, and I'm gonna wipe the surface just to try to make it a little bit more smooth and even before I top coat, so that there's hopefully no like obvious like scratches or divots and stuff. But yeah, that filing took absolutely forever. I mean, you guys saw what these nails looked like before, and I just did not want to stop until I was somewhat happy with them. Like, I filed for so long, like my bones are literally like still vibrating, which is probably not healthy. They're pretty bad. I can't tell if it's a square or a coffin or what, but it's what we're working with today. Nothing to do now but top coat though. I cannot wait to see how these look like with the top coat. I really, really, really hope that like all of the glitters and stuff look amazing. Ready? Okay, that's pretty cute. Definitely wasn't as amazing as a reveal as I was kind of hoping for, but I think it's just this one isn't anything too crazy. It is really pretty though. I love glitter acrylic. But yeah, these ones, I was just really struggling with these ones because I haven't done acrylic in so long, and apparently I just completely forgot how to do it. So I also feel like I always like a set of nails that I do a lot better like a day after I've done it, because I think just like sitting here and staring at them and like trying to fix all the imperfections for like 5, 6, 7 hours, definitely I just get caught up in all of the little mistakes that I see. But then like the next day, I'm usually like, oh, these are actually really, really cute. I went ahead and top coated the underside of all of them as well, just in case the underside not being top coated was causing any of like the, I don't know, like fogginess. And I think it helped maybe a little bit, especially on this one, because I think on this one you can see through probably the most. But yeah, so there they are. There are our Halloween custom acrylics for this year. I'm really happy with all of them. This top coat is also just so insanely shiny. What in the world? Anyway, cuties, thank you so much for watching. I really hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, definitely give it a thumbs up. It helps me out a lot, and I really appreciate it. I love you all so very much. I hope that you are having the most amazing day, night, week, life. Sleep well if you are going to sleep. I will hopefully see you in my next one. Bye, cuties. Mwah.